once again, I really need to do something here about the stream. I used to use a service that no longer works, so I'll need to change it. But in any case, I hope that you guys are all doing very well. If you do enjoy the content, don't forget, drop that like and subscribe. So we will wait a little bit here for people to join. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. I'll wait a little bit for people who haven't had the chance to join. Oh, yeah. Maybe tired today. I was actually almost canceling the live, but I thought, look, I told everybody that I was going to do it, so here I am, but I'll try to keep it a bit short. I see a person has joined. Hopefully you can tell me if you can listen to me, yes or no. That would be very helpful. Hey, Raf, how are you? Can you hear me well? Good. Start to see some more people joining in. So I'll kickstart it. There's not been that much difference from my previous video of yesterday. One of the things that I like to see, and I've said this before, people always get this backwards. You see, the fundamentals for the price action that comes later, they get set today. But people don't understand it. You see, what are the fundamentals I'm talking about? TLT going up, stabilizing. Russell 2000 making a new all-time high. Eventually, the crypto bill going through Congress. The new SEC chair being very pro-crypto. So all these things are fundamentals that are happening right now, but you don't see it in the price action. Actually, I'm quite, because I knew that this was going to happen, and I think I mentioned this in the previous live stream that I've done a few maybe a month ago. This was before the election. This was with Bitcoin slightly above 60K, and everybody was getting pissed because basically we had sold off from 65 to 60K. Remember that? And I said in that live stream, I said, there's going to be a time where we're going to sell off to 92, 95K, and people get pissed off. And there were people in the live that couldn't really understand what I was talking about. I said, wait for it. Wait, actually, I'll make you a better prediction. In the next couple of years, let's call it 2 to 2 years and a half, you're going to see Peter Schiff saying the following. He's going to say this either via tweet or on X or in a podcast or whatever. He's going to say Bitcoin crashed to $100,000. He's going to say these words. Bitcoin crashed, think about it, to $100,000. This actually is going to happen, and you won't realize how stupid that comment is, obviously. But he will be right in the sense that very likely we'll be crashing 55 to 60% or 65% from that level. But wait and see just, how basically people have trouble dealing with sell-offs. I've said this in the previous video about how we are entering the most dangerous part of the cycle. And the reason is twofold. Number one, things start to pump and you didn't pull the trigger. And now you are constantly waiting for a dip, which doesn't come. And then you go in much later at a much higher price. And then most likely by the time that you got in, you do see a sell-off, but never to the levels that you wanted. The sell-offs are shorter, but they're quite aggressive. So if you think about from almost 100K to 91K, which is where we are now, you're talking 10%. Now, 10% usually in other parts of the cycle is actually quite a big sell-off. But right now, this is something that can be, you can be in the third week of December and the whole thing has evaporated, basically. So we are in that part of the cycle. It's very aggressive. And the reason why you get these big sell-offs in short time periods is because now you finally have retail coming, which means you have a lot of people here for the first time, and they come typically from the stock market, and They think 3% down is a lot. So then they come here and they see 10% in 5 days and they go crazy because this is not what they're expecting, particularly if they are in meme coins and the likes that can go down. And some of them have gone down 10, 15, 10, 15, what am I saying? 30, 35, 40%. They cannot take it. So they sell. So they make these big red candles in a very short time period that tend to recover quite quickly because it catches everybody off guard. But we'll go to crypto a little bit later. Let's look a little bit at the market. TLT going up, very good, very stable. Liquidity keep pumping in. You look at the global liquidity tracker, still going up. You see the Russell 2000, which was a laggard of the indices in the US, has now made a new all-time high. We are now battling with those levels. Stock market seems to be robust still. Economic indicators are garbage, but they've been garbage for a long time. Even the job reports, people love the headlines, and that's what the market trades off. But then, if you actually look at the underlying of the reports, you'll find out that full-time jobs are disappearing. Most of the jobs created are government jobs, which by definition are non-productive. So you see that the weakness is real. And by the way, it's very easy. Just check the results of the election, right? If you look at the number one reason of why people voted was the economy, and they gave a landslide to the newcomer instead of the incumbent. So that should tell you anything. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to X. Don't listen to mainstream media. Look at the results. If the economy is so strong, then the incumbent would win easily. But he didn't, right? Usually this happens when the real economy is doing very poorly. As I've said, we have three economies. You have the real economy, the one where people live, working class, etc. Terrible, has been terrible for a long time, and it will continue to be terrible until AI comes and basically explodes productivity for everybody. So that's number one. Then you have the economy of the government numbers, cooked books, wrong numbers, reports that are guided by headlines, and then basically they are either revised constantly, like the job market, or actually, if you actually read a little bit of the report, you'll find out how weak things are. So you have, so one side, real economy, garbage, government economy, better, stock market, risk assets, amazing. Why? Because they have nothing to do with the real economy. They are connected, pure and simple, with liquidity. Now, what can derail this cycle? What can derail this cycle are both black swans and white swans. So let's go with the black swans. This is the parade of imaginary horribles that everybody likes to pose, right? What if you have World War III? What if tensions escalate? What if inflation comes back to double digits next month? What if this and what if that? So this is the basically things that are very hard to predict. I would say my biggest concern is not even any of it. I think is something happening that prevents Trump from actually getting into office. That would be, now I'll let you fill in the blanks for that one. That would be the only thing that really would concern me. All the others, they can be scaled down as long as he gets in office, even if the conflicts escalate. I think he will find a way to de-escalate them, unless, it just came out the news today, or a rumor today, if you will, that NATO was considering to preemptively attack Russia. Well, if that happens, of course, then all bets are off, right? I cannot tell you that that's going to happen. Nobody can tell you that that's going to happen or not. I think it probably won't. But, black swans are black swans. You can have an idea of what they are, but at the end of the day, they come as a big shocker, yeah? Then you have the white swans. What would be the white swan? A white swan would be the US approves the bill like in April or so, and then the parade of countries, enemies and friends alike, go into crypto as well, not because they necessarily love Bitcoin or because they believe in it, but as a part of game theory. What if the US is seeing something that I'm not seeing? And then I'm going to look like an idiot because I lost the big opportunity because I couldn't see what the US was seeing, right? So let me just get a little bit of it, at least I benefit from whatever they think is going to happen from holding Bitcoin as part of your strategic reserves, right? So So then you kickstart FOMO buying, both by institutions and by the government, and then the sky is the limit, right? Anything can happen. It all depends on how the governments will buy the asset. Will they buy regardless of the price? Will they sell other assets just to go into it as fast as possible? Will they raise specific debt just for it? Who knows? Or will they buy small quantities over time to build up a position? Who knows? Right. At this stage, nobody knows. The bill has not even passed. You can start to think about it, and probably you're gonna get somewhere. But so far, what I have to say is what I've seen so far has been a repetition of the 40-year cycle with a little bit of front running, between 2 to 3 weeks of front running. The halving pump came as expected. The halving sell-off and correction for 7 months came as expected. The meme coin mania came a bit stronger and earlier than expected. But all in all, the thing is, if you actually look at the global liquidity index and Bitcoin, it's pretty much the same chart as always. As you guys know, I've said that with Trump being in office, I think we have a cycle a bit on steroids. That would be a 2016, 2017 kind of cycle. I haven't seen any reason why that's not going to happen. But I have something to say here because I believe this is important to mention. So we tried to make 100K Bitcoin. And the first time, and we got to 99.8 and we failed. So let me get this straight. You were expecting that we're going to run past by such a psychological barrier like 100K first try, like it's nothing, like it's knife through butter. Really? You think we're just going to do it with no sort of correction of pullback, nothing. By the way, in case you guys don't know, 92K was the level of support for Bitcoin. If that breaks aggressively, we can see somewhere between 86 to 88K. That support should hold. At the worst case scenario, 78 would be the worst case scenario. But let's say 86 to 88 should hold well if 90 to 92 doesn't hold. Okay? But do you think that we're just going to go through a number that has been priced in since 2021? Remember, everybody thought that in 2021 we're going to go to 100K. So that price has been priced. So that level, that 100K mark, has been priced in for 3 years now. Do you think we're just going to ram through it for our first time that we tried? Particularly when you have Jim Kramer. By the way, this is actually quite crazy. I have a theory. It's my personal theory, complete speculation. If there's a matrix around us and we are just in a computer simulation, Jim Kramer is one of the pieces that the machines would drop to give us clues about how things are programmed. I mean, the guy is in this show and he says, everybody should own Bitcoin. I'm very positive towards Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is at 99.5, literally to the hour that he says this. Bitcoin drops and keeps on dropping until recently 90 point something, 91K. It's amazing. I mean, it's to the hour. This guy's not to the day, it's to the hour. I mean, almost to the minute, actually. The way that it can be an inverse oracle is just mind-boggling to me. I mean, then of course they put clips of him in 2022, basically saying that he was basically saying in 2022 that you are an idiot if you own any of these cryptos, and he was talking about Bitcoin, Solana, blah, blah, blah. Solana was at $11, and he was saying that you were stupid if you owned it. Basically, by the time that he called everybody stupid for owning Bitcoin, at 16,000, Bitcoin went straight up from that point, from that day that he talked about it in CNBC. And he has one after the other of these ones. So we got a little bit of a curse with Jim Kramer because he came and he talked positively about crypto. So maybe we need him to either just don't talk about it or actually even go a little bit negative. That's what we are waiting for. Because I mean, that guy is that's my speculation. I think I think he's like a clue of the matrix. In terms of where we are in the cycle, usually mid-December should be when you have your real altcoin season kickstarting. Will we front run it like we've been front running all the other things, and will we start it beginning of December? Very possible. I've said, and I really actually truly believe this, I think Ethereum will make a new all-time high, so be above 5K, before the end of the year. I would say at most beginning first half of January. So by 15th of January, this would be the worst, in my view. But I think Ethereum will get there, and it will shock a lot of people. Now, I've seen today a few things that I really like it. I've seen an increasing number of people saying that the 100K, the 99.8K was the top, and that's it. We are now entering a bear market. We had the left translated cycle, right? So we're going to enter the bear market right now, and everything will underperform from now. And so basically, we're going to start a 4-year bear market. And I've seen a lot of people in the comment section being really pissed off about this comment. You see, you don't understand. You need people to believe this. You need people, particularly with following, to be telling their followers that the bear market is here. We just don't see it yet. The reason why you need it, that means because these people need to be out of the market so they can come and buy the top at the end. That's what you need. If you go to Twitter and basically everybody is agreeing that this is going to go up forever, that's a very bad sign. You need some prominent, but not just like me saying it, you need like a very prominent channels saying it. People with a lot of following to convince noobs to sell all their positions, and then basically they come and FOMO at the end and get completely annihilated, and they transfer their wealth to the holders that gone through the cycle, like me and you. This is how the cycle works every single time. So far there's nothing special. I think people just get convinced. This is my feeling. People get convinced that we're not gonna, that if we are in the bull market, we should only see green candles, right? I mean, we shouldn't even red. What is this red color? Red? I don't understand that. They told me I just bought this coin and it goes up, right? This is it. This should be very easy. This is how people think about the bull market, because what they do is they look at monthly charts. And when they do look at monthly charts, they see monthly green candles. What they forget is that the month has 4.5 weeks, and some of those weeks are very, very red. When in the last cycle, X did a 10,000 fold, meaning from the bottom to top, it went up 10,000 fold, there were corrections of 85, 86, 80, 77, 65, 60% corrections along the way. This was in the middle of a rampant bull market for that coin. Can you imagine? For every euro you invested, or dollar, or Swiss franc, or Japanese yen that you invested, you got 10,000 of those. And still you had massive pullbacks. So if you're gonna basically go crazy every time there's a 10% drop and think that you're in the bear market, then you're just not gonna make it. I mean, it's really that simple. And this is not me giving you financial advice, telling you to buy or to sell. That's not my point here. What I'm saying is, as a fact, every bull market that I've ever seen on crypto has 30%, 20%, 15% pullbacks on Bitcoin and 60+% pullbacks on altcoins. If you think that every time you're going to see a 10% drawback in Bitcoin, that's the end, then you're going to be out very, very early, and then you eventually will be coming up later and doing a big mistake. Basically, that's what's going to happen to you. It's not very nice to say, but that's the reality. I've seen here a comment. Okay, I've disclosed my positions a long time ago, but I will do it for the benefit of people that either didn't hear it or they're here for the first time. Number one, my retirement coins: X, Hedron, Icosa, Pulse, PulseX, and I would say incentive token is kind of half-half. Lottery tickets, they've been the same for ages. Andy on Ethereum. So all of these that I'm talking are on Ethereum. Andy, Hoppy, Boppy, Matt, I have a little bit of it, but very little. And I dropped like $300 on ETH guy. That's it. Then lottery tickets on Pulse Chain, PDI, Pulse Launch, Pulse Spot, and 7G, of course, which has not come out yet. That's it. That's it at the moment. PDI, am I a believer? Yes, I've been a believer for a long time. That's why I have it as a lottery ticket. Do I believe enough to put, I don't know, $10,000 into it? No. Do I believe enough to put a little bit more than your usual lottery ticket? Yes. I put about $1,200 or so. I don't know, 4 months ago, 6 months ago, I don't even remember, but quite a while ago. PDI has the narrative of pegging to $1. Now, this is very important because from the bottom to the top, from the bottom to the recent top at 1.8 cents, PDI has done a 10,000x. So what it means is always the same thing. If the community is strong, if the narrative is good, if people believe in it, if people buy, most importantly, if people buy cheap and not expensive, they will, generally speaking, do well. Can PDI peg to $1? Yes, it can. Is it likely? At the moment, probably not. That's why you have an asymmetric return possibility, because PDI is around a penny or a bit less. If it goes to $1, that's 100-fold. So of course there's going to be high risk with 100-fold possibility. I mean, it is, of course. If there's no risk for an 100x, yeah, then there's something wrong here. Then the market is like really completely off. For example, there's much less risk with Bitcoin. Of course there is. That's why you're only gonna get, in my view, if we go to $242,000 to $276,000, which has been my prediction since 2023, you have less than a 3x away. Ethereum, even if Ethereum goes to $25,000 to $29,000, which is my expectation, that's less than a 10x away. So of course those are much safer than what I'm talking about here. This is why these are lottery tickets. Why are they called lottery tickets? People always get this confused. A lottery ticket is, in my view, a cycle one narrative or a very specific narrative that you can only tell there is a narrative in the middle of the bull cycle. Why is this so difficult to predict? Because you need to be in the cycle to figure out which one is going to be. So, for example, could you predict NFTs in 2019? No. Could you predict X in 2019? Most people didn't. I mean, okay, DeFi was doing well, but it was hard to say. Could you predict that every chain in the previous cycle would do huge amounts regardless of how many users it has? It doesn't really matter. Could you predict that Shiba Inu was going to do a millionfold? No. This time around, could you predict that the Frog coin, could you be in 2022 and predict that Frog coins will do very, very well? No. That's my point. You only know when you're there. So those are the cycle one narratives. What's the problem with cycle one narratives? There's very little time for research. There's no time to actually spend a lot of time trying to figure out all the intricacies of the coin. Is this a scam? Is it not a scam? Am I going to get rug pulled? Who's the founder? Is it a good founder? Is it the CTO? Who knows? You don't have much time to do this. By the time that you figure out all of this information, 100x has gone by, right? And you kind of, should I go? Shouldn't I go, right? So it's much harder. So the point of a lottery ticket is, if I win, I win big, very, very big, like it happened with Andy and with Hoppy, right? There was a rationale for the narrative, but could I be sure that it was going to work? Of course not. Nobody can be sure. But if I would lose 800 euros. I would lose $800. I would lose $600. I would lose $700. It's not a big deal to me. Like, I'm not going to live under the bridge. I'm not going to need to sell the house. My wife's not going to divorce me, etc., etc., etc. If I'm right, I can get 100x, 200x, 1000x. That's the beauty of a lottery ticket. Then you have something that does very well at the end of the cycle, which is called cycle two narratives. So those are the narratives that done very, very well in the previous cycle. And they lag everything in the new cycle. But right at the end, last 2-3 months, they run like crazy. So last cycle, it was layer ones and DeFi. So I think closer to the end of the cycle, layer one and DeFi's like Pulse Chain, PulseX, X, Hydronicos, etc., will do incredibly well. Do I think they're going to do 1,000x or 10,000x? People are saying no. I don't think so. I think at the most, Pulse Chain will do like a 200, 250x. But even if it doesn't, this is the point. I'm fairly convinced that this is going to happen. Can I guarantee it? Of course not. Am I advising you to copy me? No. I'm just sharing with you my train of thought, right? If I think they are good cycle 2 narratives, that they will pump very good at the end of the cycle, I'm expecting them to pump somewhere between 50 to 100x. If they pump, let's say 60, 75, I'm already very well, because the size of the money that I invested in those narratives is much bigger, like is incomparably bigger than the lottery tickets. Oh, but you could have made more money if you put more money in lottery tickets. Yes, and I could have lost more money as well. Right? This is how it goes. It goes both ways. So what I've done is I've positioned myself in a way, and you've seen me doing this for years now, at least more than a year, because I started the channel in June of 2023. I disclosed my retirement coins when the SEC was after Richard Hart. The same week, I disclosed my coins. You see, so I'm not one of the Johnny come latelys that come here and talk about things after they pumped, right? No, I'm here when the prices are at all-time lows, nobody wants it, everybody's calling it a scam, blah, 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 blah. I mean, people forget, in the beginning of this month, everybody was super sad because Bitcoin was 60K. And now everybody's super sad because Bitcoin is back to a week ago price. I mean, it is what it is. This is how people think. And I can promise you there's going to be a time where people are going to be pissed off that Bitcoin has dropped to 100K. You'll see this happening one day. The key is always the same. Make it simple. In my view, this is how I think about it. Are we in 2025? No. Has the liquidity peaked? No. Has the interest rates dropped to the minimum? No. Is the crypto bill approved? No. Is the strategic reserves approved? No. Is the Chinese stimulus full-fledged out? No. Are all the proceeds from the FTX creditors received by the customers? No. Is Michael Saylor done with buying Bitcoin on the billions of dollars? No. So to me, I'm relaxed. I've always been relaxed. Can there be white swans in my favor that make me obscenely wealthy? Sure. Can there be black swans that derail the entire cycle and then I need to wait another 3 years or 4 years or whatever? Sure. That's part of the risk. If somebody comes here and tells you, oh, this is risk-free, this is super easy, this is blah, 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 it's all BS. This is hard to take. You need to understand. You need to put yourself in the position of someone who comes from the stock market. They cannot handle, like, for example, I always give the example of Andy, right? Andy went from 200K to $320 million market cap. And then it dropped 85% to $48 million. 85% drop. Do you think someone that comes from the stock market can take it? Do you really think so? No, they don't understand. You need to be a guy, a complete degenerate like me, who's been, super deep on crypto and knows that altcoins in particular, particularly if they've done very, very well, they can drop 85%, and you need to live with it. But if you don't actually analyze the cycles, take all the time to look into it, make all the effort, it's very hard. For me, for example, if I go to a person that has been investing in stocks in the S&P 500 all their life, and I can say, oh, by the way, your money can drop 85% tomorrow, they go like, this guy's crazy. I mean, this guy's going to lose it. When the music stops, this guy is it's going to get destroyed, blah, blah, blah. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do to prevent it. You need to live with it, with the volatility. Crypto is the best asset class of all time. And the price you pay for it is called volatility. That's the price. Most people can't take it. So in that sense, am I concerned? No. Can we go into the 80s, 86, etc.? 86K Bitcoin, 88K, yeah, Ron. I mean, you're completely right. You need to rewire. You need to be, but this is the point. My favorite time of the year in crypto is the bear market, because it's the bear market where you find the gems. at super low prices is when you really can study the market and really prepare yourself for what is coming. I've been saying the whole time, the bear market is easy. The recovery is easy. It's easy in the sense of you know what to expect. There's nothing special. Like, I'm pretty convinced that when the bear market comes again, I think Bitcoin, because it's going to be a more mature asset, I think Bitcoin's going to drop 55 to 65%. And I think that Ethereum will drop 75 to 80%. I'm expecting it to happen. So if Ethereum drops 80%, do you think I'm going to be, oh my God? No, I'm expecting it. But how do you think people that invest in the ETFs for Ethereum are going to feel? Do you think they are used to this? They're going to struggle. And they will need to learn the hard way. And there's nothing you can do about it. And you just look for example, we just had a massive run now. We need some breather. We need time to relax a bit, let some stuff out. Q4 is performing very well this year. Again, like what? Like 2016, like 2012, like 2020 is performing very, very well. So 2024 Q4 has been very, very good. There's nothing that's changed about it. Altcoin season, in my view, should start somewhere in the middle of December. What I mean by start, it should start to become obvious that the Bitcoin dominance is dropping more rapidly. Okay, does that? Because people, I need to be very careful, otherwise people confuse this. Am I saying that from the day 14 to the day 15 of December, all the altcoins on the planet will go up tenfold overnight? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that dominance on Bitcoin is going to start to consistently reduce, and the altcoins will do consistently better. But when they're doing better, the sell-offs during that time period will be very aggressive but short in duration. When I say short, am I talking about an hour sell-off? Yeah, you can have an hour sell-off, but you can have 5 days sell-off. If a coin pumps 20x and then it sells off 60%, is it a bad thing? I mean, I don't think so. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, it's bad if you bought after the 20x. Then you feel bad, of course. But is it bad if it goes up 20x and then drops 60%? Do you think that's a bad deal? I mean, I would take that deal every day, right? But, the issue is that a lot of people accumulate at the part where you have the euphoria. Usually Bitcoin euphorias are quite obvious. They look literally like a hockey stick. It goes straight like this. Fatter candles, shorter durations. You see a chart going like this, and then it starts going like this for a few months. And then what you need to think about, and I've said this before, most not, a large number of altcoins peak 12 months after the Bitcoin halving. So that is April 2025. I already know that around late March, mid-April 2025 or so, most of the altcoins will have, or at least a big number of altcoins will have peak. Let's call it 50% of the altcoins will have a peak right there. And so what I'm looking for, okay, I know that somewhere around that time frame, there's going to be a sell-off in Bitcoin, which eventually leads to a sell-off in the altcoins as well. Why can it be triggered? It can only be triggered if something really positive happens. So my question becomes, okay, what's going to be the event that is going to be so positive that people will see no way of how can this market go down? And then it goes down. You see, people need to make an argument and they need to call me stupid. They need to say, you're an idiot. You don't understand. The US is going to buy 200K Bitcoin. There's only 162.5 being produced every year. Don't you get it? They're going to get the entire supply and more. This is it. It's going, now it only stops at 1 million. You see, you need people to call $1 million Bitcoin. That's how you can go to a 250K Bitcoin. You need people to believe that $1 million is normal. That's the consensus expected price. That's how you can go to 250K. Because if everybody believes that 300K is the top, nobody's going to buy it at 250K. They need to believe that there's at least another 4x to go into 1 million. This is how they think. So you need to understand what's going to be that. I don't know. I mean, it's anybody's guess. Will it be a bunch of countries announcing that they're going to have a Bitcoin reserve also within the next 6 months? Will it be the actual approval of the Bitcoin bill? Or let's say the Bitcoin bill is approved in February, March, and then this is the day, 14 April, the day where they start the Bitcoin asset reserve in the US. What a perfect top signal, right? As easy as it comes. This is when nobody can envision Bitcoin going down. They forget that although the US may eat up all the new supply, which eventually is good in the future, don't get me wrong, that part is good. But you need to understand that there's a lot of supply that people hold right now that they can sell. And then it becomes new supply, which is the seller's supply. This is the part that nobody will see. Now, what do I expect? I expect a big sell-off in March, April 2025. Don't quote me the exact day. I would say late March. So somewhere between the last week of March and the first half of April, I think it's going to be a peak there. I think a lot of altcoins will peak there. And I think Bitcoin will have a top there. I think we're going to have a sell-off that's going to last probably 4 months. Call it 3-4 months. There's going to be a sell-off. A lot of people will think that the bull market is over. We are finished. We are done. And then by the end of the year, let's say September, October 2025, you have the last hurrah, where Bitcoin makes its last high. People say, oh, that's it. We had the sell-off, and now we're going to kick it off. Blah, blah, blah. Now it's going to be the thing. Some of the altcoins will do new all-time highs. Some of them won't. They will approach March, April levels, but they will not get quite there. Think about BNB. BNB 2021 made a new all-time high in May. That was during the Coinbase IPO, which was a very positive event, of course. Buy the rumor, sell the news. And then we had the big sell-off through the summer, where Bitcoin went from 65 to 29K. And then Bitcoin made the last hurrah, made a slight new all-time high at 69K, got everybody long, right? Got Duke One long, got Michael Saylor long as well, but he was a bit more, he managed to make it a bit better. They got Celsius long, they got Voyager long, they got FTX long, they got all these guys long on leverage, and then it drops from there. Some altcoins made new all-time highs in November, but a lot of them, like BNB, had their all-time highs in May, the first top. So I think that's actually likely to happen. I wouldn't be surprised to see a big hurrah at the end of the year in which Bitcoin goes into new all-time highs for a while. Some of the altcoins also do, but many of them don't. And then you have your bear market. This time you drop less than before. So there was a time where Bitcoin used to drop 94%. There was a time where Bitcoin used to drop 85%. Last cycle dropped 77%. I think next cycle will drop somewhere between 55, 65. It's anybody's guess. And I think Ethereum will drop somewhere between 75 to 80%. And then in 2026, you start guessing what's going to be the bottom signal. Maybe Michael Saylor is sweating a lot. Maybe he put too much leverage and is approaching a very dangerous situation. Maybe another big exchange goes bankrupt. Maybe Tether, USDT, collapses. Who knows? Anybody's guess. But then you'll see it. It's going to be, once again, the top signals and the bottom signals. When you look at them, historically speaking, they're quite obvious. But to be there, it's actually much harder to recognize. We had a good example here for the people following this channel. I was actually talking in August or in July, I was talking about bottom signals and how to feel about it, how to look at it, etc. And then we had obviously the Japanese debacle in the beginning of August, I think 5th of August or something, and Bitcoin drops from 60K to 48K. If you've been following this channel, I had a target for a long time, which was 47 to 52K. I talked about it in March when Bitcoin was 74. I thought it was happening in July. It happened in the beginning of August. I was wrong for about 2 weeks or something. So we saw 48K. and immediately the bottom signals flash everywhere. Peter Schiff is talking about crypto graveyard. Jim Kramer is super bearish. All the big channels are talking about Bitcoin 32K because that's the 200 moving average. Everybody's talking about the negative carry trade. The carry trade in Japan, only 50% was unwind. Now we need to unwind the other 50%, which is going to push Bitcoin into 30K, blah, blah, blah. All these theories, every video, the flames on the background, the blood coming out of the eyes in the thumbnail, all terrible. Crypto was a complete disaster on X. Everybody was bearish, blah, blah, blah. I came here and I said, by the way, guys, congratulations, this is the bottom. This is the last time you're going to see Bitcoin at 48K with the 40K mark. So it's going to be an historic moment. Enjoy. And it was the bottom. And so I said, okay, you see, we're talking about bottom signals. You are living one right now. This is your example. Learn from it. It's going to happen again. Next time you see the same thing, you're going to know that more likely than not, you are close to bottom. And so I think post-chain ecosystem will do very, very well. I think my lottery tickets will do very, very well. Do I think that we've hit the top on this cycle? I don't. Absent any huge black swan event that, it's very hard to foresee. I still think 2025, Bitcoin somewhere between 242 to 276,000 and Ethereum somewhere between 25 to 29,000. And I still think Ethereum is going to play catch up. I've been saying this for a long time. Most people don't agree with me. I think Ethereum all of a sudden will jump 40-45%. It will just catch people off guard. And then all of a sudden everybody's going to become bullish on Ethereum again. Ta-da, what a surprise. And I think that's it, guys. If you don't have any questions from me, I think I'll drop off. I'm a bit tired today. Sorry if the energy is a little bit low. If I forget to cover anything, I apologize for that. Well, I was almost about to cancel this live, but I thought, no, I said I was going to come here, so I did. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it's clear. I hope it makes sense. At least this is how I'm viewing it. Once again, am I trying to create... Elon's targets about creating his own crypto system. I wouldn't pass anything behind that guy. I mean, that guy is amazing in that sense, in the sense that like him or hate him, you cannot say that guy is not an average guy. That guy is 1 in 10 billion. The way that he juggles with everything, I mean, anything is possible on that side. No, but thank you very much for being here. Once again, I'm not here trying to convince you of anything, to give you any kind of financial advice. I'm here just, broadcasting my journey. Hopefully, it will lead to financial independence and really, really hopefully will lead to generational wealth. We'll see if I can get there. Post-chain ecosystem, I think it's going to do very well. I think PDI, PWBTC, as I've seen over there, I think those will do very well as well. And one of them was already done at 10,000x, so it's done very, very well. Liquidity going up, currency debasement non-stop. Money printing and rate cuts will come back, and I expect crypto to benefit from it. And with that, thank you very much for your support, guys. Don't forget, like and subscribe is the only thing that I ask, and I'll catch you in the next one.